Hello and good evening. We are delighted to welcome you all to the Fragrance Foundation Circle of Champions. Tonight, we will honor our dear friend and colleague, Nicholas Merziance, Group President of Fragrance for IFF. On behalf of Patrick Firmenich and all my colleagues at Firmenich, I congratulate you, Nicholas, on all your achievements and successes. Perhaps a few too many successes, but that's okay, and for joining the highly esteemed Circle of Champions. To begin the program, it gives me great pleasure to welcome my friend, a true force of nature, the President of the Fragrance Foundation, Linda Levy.
I've been called many a thing, Jerry, but never a force of nature. Thank you very much. I'm adding it to my resume tonight. Anyway, thanks, Jerry, for coming, because we know it's nice for you to drop in, swim across the pond, and come in for dinner, but really do appreciate having you here tonight. Without doubt, this evening promises to be extraordinary. So first, I just want to thank you, Dennis Furin, Vice President of Global Fine Fragrances at IFF. Where are you, Dennis? Ah, Dennis. Gracias, Dennis. And a big merci beaucoup to Frederick Pignaud, the Prince of IFF, also known as the Vice President of Fine Fragrances. And one other big shout out tonight to one of my new BFFs, a very special acknowledgement to Arcade Beauty, and specifically my BFF, Diane Krecka. Against all odds, we gathered the innermost thoughts of many of Nicholas's closest friends, and they're in our journal tonight because much will be said tonight. It will be very heartfelt. I told him it would be a love fest, and it is, but you get to go home with some of those quotes as well. So Nicholas, we're very excited to have this journal. But the biggest story of all is I am thrilled to welcome you, Nicholas, to the Fragrance Foundation's Circle of Champions. And it's really worth mentioning tonight, Nicholas, you have joined a very acclaimed group of individuals that have made extraordinary impact on the fragrance industry. You're in very good company. We are so very happy tonight because the most original champion in the entire fragrance world is with us. Thank you for coming, and thank you for being a big part of this, Mr. Leonard Lauder. And we have some other champions here. We in the Fragrance Foundation are open to both men and women as champions. But before we get to the female category, Pete Bourne is also with us tonight. Really important. He was a Circle of Champions. My most delicious friend on the executive committee, Ann Gottlieb, another champion. And I'm really happy that Camille McDonald is with us. Where are you, Camille? Give a wave. And the last lovely champion in the room, I'm very happy is here with us tonight, and that's Art Spiro. So, Nicholas, you are surrounded by many wonderful colleagues, friends, and family. It's so wonderful to meet your family tonight. However, I'm just a backup act because right now, without further ado, the man who taught me everything after Leonard Lauder at the Estee Lauder Companies, sometimes we refer to it as our first marriage, John. Please welcome our Master of Ceremonies, John Dempsey, the Executive Vice President of the Estee Lauder Companies.
Good evening, everyone. It is a great honor to be here this evening and to be your Masters of Ceremonies. And the most difficult task of accepting this role tonight, Nicholas, is that I have practiced for 25 years on how to pronounce your last name. No, I'm going to, your charming mother-in-law gave me an Eliza Doolittle, Dr. Doolittle, well, My Fair Lady moment, actually. So Nicholas Mirzayans. But I must tell you, for all of us who have known and loved you, and I've known you for over a quarter of a century, thank God for spell check. Because I can truly tell you that every single time when we want to say who's coming to the office or when you're coming, we sort of like mumble the whole thing afterwards. And in a world where there's Alexa and voice recognition, it's getting much harder. So my empathy out to your family as well, who carry the greatness of your family name. But anyhow, the Circle of Champions Award is given every year to someone who has made a notable and newsworthy impact on the fragrance industry. And Nicholas, you've won this award in our mind every single year. Since you first came to the United States with IFF in 1992, you started as the Estee Lauder account executive, and Nicholas has been an incredible partner to the Estee Lauder companies. Nicholas knew Mrs. Estee Lauder, he knew Mrs. Evelyn Lauder, and he is as much a part of our history as anyone in our entire company. In fact, so many of the fragrances that are in the Estee Lauder companies today were launched from 1994 on. Nicholas had a profound role in. And the relationship between the Estee Lauder companies and IFF is also very profound. And it comes from the very beginnings of our company with Mrs. Estee Lauder herself and the creation of Youth 2, which honestly created the space for us to be the global multinational company that we are today. And it began really with that original fragrance and that product relationship with your company. Our relationship with IFF has touched so many of our brands. IFF created Youth 2, White Linen, Beautiful, Aramis, which defined the entire men's luxury space in the 1960s, Clinique Aromatics, Elixir, Happy, Calyx, Tory Burch Signature, Donna Karan Cashmere Mist, Tom Ford, Jo Malone, fundamental work with By Kilian, Le Labo, and really at the very beginning of the development of Frederic Malle, which is a proud member of our family as well. And the list goes on and on and on and on. It really is an extraordinary body of work, and the perfumers and people that you represent from around the world are one of our most treasured relationships and partnerships that we have at our company. Nicholas, for the past 25 years, you've been more than an integral part of our company. You've been our partner, our advisor, our family, and our touchstone. We can't thank you enough, and really it's a hard thing to remember that when I first met you, you were taking Afro-Cuban dance classes with Catherine Walsh on the West Side. So it's an inside joke, but if you can imagine Nicholas with a spear dancing around in an Afro-Cuban dance class, it sort of takes you to a place that was long ago. But anyhow, but at the Estee Lauder companies has grown over the years to be a family of brands, and Nicholas, you most certainly are an esteemed member of our family, and I've had a long-standing personal relationship with you, and I know everybody here in this room tonight feels the very same way that I feel about you. You bring an incredible amount of dignity, class, elegance, and a global view along with your beautiful family and what you've done not only for New York, but for the global fragrance industry. And there are not many people out there like you, and you truly are a champion. So what I would like to do right now is to introduce to you the man behind the growth and the chairman and CEO of IFF, Nicholas's boss, another hard name to pronounce, Andreas Fiebig? Okay, I got it right. So Andreas, if you please could come up to the stage.
So, ladies and gentlemen, friends of Nicholas, I'm very glad and very happy to be here, and I probably share less of history with Nicholas than many of you, because I just met Nicholas exactly 6.5 years ago here in New York, actually 57th Street, at one of our board meetings, and I had actually the same issue with the name when we started as John. We are extremely happy to have a colleague not only as gifted and successful as Nicholas, but someone who so perfectly represents and embodies IFF. First, let me touch on some of the success. Nicholas has been the president of our fragrance division for the past 10 years. And that time, he has led the Fine Fragrance Global team to industry-leading growth. He has championed the growth of IFF in international markets like Brazil and China. Nicholas has helped to expand us intelligently through strategic acquisitions like LMR, like Lucas Myers Cosmetics, and has helped us really to step into new areas above and beyond the fragrance area. He led our acquisition of Fragrance Resources, expanding our reach and our talent. His peers recognize his importance to the industry as he sits on many boards, including IFRA, RIFM, and as well as FIT Industry Advisory Board. But in all honesty, all of these things probably don't describe these business achievements. Nicholas as a human being and as somebody who has really an impact on our company and on IFF. He has grown up with the company, having started his career in IFF in March 1988 as a sales support in Paris for our Italian affiliate. And I probably don't disclose too much that he had also a career as a taxi driver before and spent some time in Central America. And this is kind of a very eclectic and good career, and I think it has led also to important key learnings for him in his current career. He has led many of our most important customer relationships, such as accounts like on Estée Lauder, helping to cement the historic partnership between Lauder and IFF, but also with L'Oreal, Unilever, P&G, and I could name a lot of these customers. And he always creates values for our customers, and that's probably the most important thing. To talk about IFF is to talk about Nicholas, and vice versa. He embodies the values of IFF: passion, creativity, a bit of expertise, and empowerment. Nicholas was a person, actually, when I first joined IFF, coming from a very different world where science was probably the only parameter which counted, to teach me about art and science. And that's something which is intellectually stimulating, but is also very good to be in that kind of industry. And that has helped me a lot to find my way and to navigate through this industry. IFF is about innovation, as you well know, and Nicholas is one of the great innovators of his generation. He's a true believer that the whole of our talent can be greater than the sum of the parts. He pioneered the team approach to perfume development. To this day, this approach helps IFF stay ahead in an increasingly competitive marketplace. He initiated collaborations with the art publication Visionaire in the early 2000s, one on scent and the other on taste, groundbreaking in the industry and underscored the art that is inherent to our business. Nicholas also championed our way into encapsulation technology, and he did a lot of other things as well to help us to move our company forward in the last 30 years, and that's quite an achievement. As I said, he was behind the acquisitions of many important companies, and it's all as a result of his passion for and a belief in many of these businesses. Nicholas and his team created and developed the strongest pipeline of ingredients in our history, and I'm very glad that we have done this. Hand in hand with innovation, IFF believes strongly in the importance of education and research. And Nicholas has led the way in partnering with some of the world's leading academic institutions. He has spearheaded our exciting collaboration with MIT Media Lab, looking into the power of scent and its effects on the human brain, which comes very close to my passion because I spent 28 years in pharmaceuticals. He has also been at the forefront of our work with some of the most prestigious fashion and design schools in Europe, such as the Royal College of Arts and the Antwerp School of Design. Last year, he helped us to build our partnership with ISIPCA to create a scent design school. So, all of these achievements were enough for us to make him the dean of our IFF University internally, and our program that educates our workforce, developing them into the next generation of talent that will hopefully shape the industry. Congratulations to that, Nicholas, as well. It's a bit of extra work. And as you well might know, that IFF is also a company that deeply committed to the sustainable future. And no one takes that responsibility more seriously than Nicholas. He helped us to develop our first sustainability strategy and our first sustainability report. And he helped us to forge actually the whole sustainability vision and strategy. And he has inspired many of our colleagues to do even better than what we have done in the past. The commitment manifested itself in first ever cradle-to-cradle certified fragrance Pura Vita, a platinum level material health certificate, as well as many of other products. And we believe this is really industry leading. He is certainly, last but not least, driven by tremendous commitment of his employees and love. And I think that basically shows in the gathering tonight, because I think it's a gathering of friends, not just colleagues within the industry. While IFF is, as a company, known for its passion, no one is more passionate about the work than Nicholas. Thank you, Nicholas, for your hard work, your dedication to this industry, and your loyalty to IFF. Thank you. For those of us who know Nicholas, we understand that he has the mind of an artist, but also the soul of an explorer. And we will show now a little video in that where Nicholas finds his creativity in large parts by personal fulfillment. Please show the video. Thank you.
The sea, the ocean is extremely important for me. The sea is about the beginning of a new journey. You're going somewhere, you're going to discover new places, new people. So the sea, it's very much about endless possibilities. I joined IFF in March '88, so almost 30 years ago. And IFF had a philosophy which was pushing the boundaries and discovering new territories. So that was extremely attractive to me. I believe that I'm very curious by nature. I love to learn, I love to discover in my work, but also when I travel. Discovering other cultures, other countries. My vocation at IFF is very much in line with who I am. And I love airplanes. I love planes to be able to travel. I love to be above the clouds, and to see things that you will not see from the ground. It's a new perspective. It's new angles. It's new shapes. And I'm always amazed by the beauty of the landscape and what is there. I take photographs because it's an art form. And it is about your point of view on the world. It's about your sensibility. It's about what you resonated with. And at IFF, when we engage into a new project, you have to bring your point of view. You have to make sure that it connects deeply to who you are and what you do. I'm very, very fortunate to have my wife and my children. They are the life of my life. And I'm very fortunate to work with some of the most creative people in the world. I felt extremely close to the perfumers. And I understood that they were the blood and the oxygen of our company. One of my favorite quotes is from an African proverb, which says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. It really captured one of my deepest beliefs. When these conditions really happen, magic happens.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Carlos Benaim, Master Perfumer, IFF.
Good evening. In life, there are just a few times that you meet, usually at random, a person so extraordinary that he leaves an imprint on you forever. And for me, Nicolas is one of those people. Even before I met him 30 years ago, Nicolas was an adventure seeker. In the mid-80s, at the time of the Contras, Nicolas served in Nicaragua as a deputy trade commissioner at the French embassy. He saw war, hunger, misery, but he also saw people's decency and generosity. He learned a respect for human dignity that he carried from diplomacy to business. And for all our focus on new ingredients, it is this old ingredient, appreciation of the human dimension, that made Nicolas great. And when we met, Nicolas was a young, talented IFF salesman for Lauder in New York, outgoing, fun-loving, with long hair and sideburns. Even then, there was something about him that set him apart. And that's what you see today, his energy, curiosity, sensibility, and a deep spiritual search. In those days, he journeyed for 3 months to the most sacred prayer spaces in India, Nepal, Bhutan, and in the words of Braja Mukherjee, to touch the feet of God. He returned transformed, regenerated, and completely bald. I felt at that time that because of our common languages and culture, that we could be friends. But little did I know that he would become such a significant presence in my life and in the history of IFF. Nicolas' first project was a Lauder fragrance, Havana for Her. We were both completely immersed for months, and I quickly realized that his instincts were right on. The drive, energy, and leadership you see today were already in full gear. And as a team, we succeeded. I was even very honored in those days that Nicolas wore my fragrance, Herrera for Men, at his marriage to lovely Alexandra. Nicolas is a leader who energizes, motivates people to excel, a meneur d'homme, as we say in French, but he's also an artistic spirit. His passion for photography was passed down from his grandfather. We nearly lost him to National Geographic after 6 months at IFF, when he was offered a job photographing wild horses in Venezuela. Nicolas studied art history and filmmaking with Eric Romer while studying finance. He perfectly understands the connection between art, science, and business that characterize our industry. Profoundly influenced by his friendship with Pierre Warny, when he started at IFF France, Nicolas also established close relationships with Max Cavary, Dr. Braja Mukherjee, Monique Remy, that fashioned his vision of perfumery. Nicolas was the first manager to cultivate the artistic side of our perfumers. With the Visionaire 42 edition, pairing perfumers with famous photographers to create fragrances, and it was a novelty in our field. He encouraged perfumers to collaborate with each other. That change became very instrumental in IFF creative success. And every time his work takes Nicolas to a foreign country, the first thing he does is to go and visit the perfumer in their offices. And so it's no surprise that perfumers universally believe in Nicolas and feel protected, knowing he has their back. And that freedom unlocks creativity and nurtures it. And Nicolas gets that. For Nicolas, without the perfumers, IFF as we know it would not exist. And we feel the same about him. As you would expect, a man who brings such humanity to his work would create an extraordinary family. His wife, Alexandra, so naturally elegant, warm, and engaging, matches Nicholas in her artistic sense and compassion for others. Their sons, Tigran and Darius, are growing up with a sense of the family as a unit of strength and of positive energy. Nicholas's love of family and adventure took his family to the most unusual places and shared experiences, from the deserts of Libya to Tanzania and the Galapagos. His ongoing search for balance in many parts of his life is a lesson to all of us. So let's raise a glass to Nicholas, the perfumer's best friend, a giant in the history of IFF, a leader, a seeker, an artist, a bridger of different worlds, a great friend to me and to so many of you. And let's give Nicholas a round of applause.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ann Gottlieb, President of Ann Gottlieb Associates.
Before I talk about our guest of honor, you should know that Carlos Benaim, one of the greatest perfumers in our industry, will celebrate 50 years with IFF next week. So wonderful and well-deserved applause for you. I met Nicholas the same time about 25 years ago when he was a salesman for IFF, calling on Estee Lauder, and I was well into my consulting business. I never could have predicted that this man I met early in the 90s would one day be president of the fragrance division of International Flavors and Fragrances. Not because he wasn't charming, not because he wasn't inspiring, and certainly not because he wasn't smart. He was all of those things. But it's because he was a dreamer. And everyone knows dreamers don't usually go very far in this world. They have their heads in the clouds, and that's an altitude reserved for poets and pilots, not for bottom-line focused executives. But the truth is, I kind of got a thing for dreamers, so Nicholas and I became friends. As he shared with us in the video, Nicholas approached life with a sense of wonder and curiosity, and it was infectious. He rarely took things at face value, but seemed always to look beyond what seemed the obvious. I actually give Nicholas a great deal of credit for my love of travel. He showed me that the itinerary was only the beginning. One had to be alert to all the crazy, unexpected, cockeyed, bizarre, thrillingly human things that make a trip. He taught me to expect, in fact, to look for the unexpected. Listening to him describe the wonders of life on the banks of the Ganges in Varanasi, the look of the faces on the men as they carried the bodies of loved ones down to the river to be cremated, or his descriptions of the intoxicating bliss of being swept up in the dancing crowds at Carnival in Rio, made me feel like I was there. His tales were so vivid, places became centerpieces in my own trips that I will never forget. When Nicholas and I are together, we sometimes talk fragrance, but we always talk travel. He was unwittingly and has become my main travel agent. Here's another great insight about Nicholas. he will often do the unexpected. Once we were at a wonderful celebratory business event, you know what's coming, at the Russian Tea Room. Suddenly, after lunch, Russian music started to play, and Nicholas, all 6'3" of him, broke into a spontaneous Kazatsky. You know the dance where you go like this and you kick your feet out? Imagine him, this huge guy, doing the Kazatsky. And every part of him was dancing. I remember thinking that Nicholas actually dances with his eyes. And I've never seen anybody do that before. There have been other times that I've witnessed this joy when he speaks of his family. Nicholas, it looks like your sons have inherited your dreamer genes, Tigran with his poetic sensibility, and Darius with his keen empathy for others. And who could believe that a man of Russian heritage named Nicholas could meet not a Tsarina, but nevertheless his very own princess named, what else? Alexandra. And yes, she really is a princess in every way. She's elegant, beautiful, generous, and an artist in her own right. Together, Nicholas and Alexandra share a devotion to charities that focus on children facing poverty and abuse. Nicholas serves on the board of governors for We Are Family, and Alexandra is a founding board member for Room to Grow. The one member of Nicholas's family who is not here tonight and who would have loved this beyond measure is Nicholas's mom, who passed away recently and unexpectedly. Had she been here, Nicholas, she would have reveled in your success and the feeling of love and respect for you in this room tonight. Nicholas, here's what you've taught me. In the end, it's the dreamers that are the real successes. Those people who have their heads in the clouds so high that they can see the broadest landscape and yet feel with the rawest skin the feeling of others. Those are the people who dare great things and who inspire others and who are just plain fun to be around. So here's to my dreamer and my friend, Nicholas.
Please welcome back John Dempsey.
What a beautiful speech, Anne, and what a perfect segue for the introduction of the next individual who's going to present the award to Nicholas, Mr. Leonard Lauder, Chairman Emeritus of the Estee Lauder Companies. I've had the pleasure and honor working for and alongside Leonard Lauder for over 27 years. The collective experience of most of us sitting in this room have worked under his tutelage, his aura, his personality, his force of nature, and really what he personally has done along with the Lauder family and the Estee Lauder Companies to establish the great American beauty company in prestige beauty, and honestly created the space for the American fragrance industry. So that wouldn't have happened without the vision of Mrs. Estee Lauder and the hard work of her family and Leonard himself being the steward of taking this company to such greatness. With so many brands and so many great fragrance brands, whether they be in New York, London, or Paris, and that's been his joy, his love, and his passion. And Leonard loves the fragrance business, and Leonard loves people. And I know for a fact, Leonard loves Nicholas very much. So with much further ado, I'm going to introduce Leonard Lauder.
Youth Dew was our first fragrance, created by Mrs. Estee Lauder, my mother, with the people at IFF. Now, there are two stories I have to share with you. When I first joined Estee Lauder, this is for the third time really, when I got out of the Navy, I missed that uniform. I looked good when I was in uniform. So I was in the office. I shared a tiny office, a little bit larger than this table, with Mrs. Estee Lauder. And the secretary, we had one secretary, she came and said, there's someone outside to see you from Neiman Marcus. This is nice. So this man came in, he said, you know, he's a buyer. I want to tell you something. You have one fragrance one product that every time we sample it, people come back and get it. That's Youth Do. Okay? Now, I took all the money we had in the bank to make 50,000 samples, and I gave them out. And the rest is history. So, my suggestion to you is this. Everyone's moaning and groaning about the fragrance business. Oh, it's not the same. Sample it. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't realize that arcade was here. I'm sorry, guys. Well, I sell things. Okay. And, but by the way, I used to fill the Youth Do bottles when I was working in the plant. That was my first job. This is before I went into the Navy. And I'd leave there smelling great. And I'd take the subway, and some guy would be sitting next to me and saying, That's not me. Okay. Now, story number 2. I'm trying to convince you all to be and stay in the fragrance business, okay? Story number 2. You've heard of Youth Do, okay? At one time, Youth Do did 85% of our total business. And this was a long time ago, and our accountant said, look, because you're not incorporated, you're paying more in tax than you're making almost. So, good idea. We formed a corporation called the Fragrance Products Corporation. And it grew, and it grew, and it grew. Sometime in the mid to late 60s, I made a decision. The Fragrance Products Corporation bought another company and changed its name. The company they bought, by the way, it's easier to buy from yourself. Relax about that. Was Estee Lauder. So Estee Lauder today, which reported pretty good earnings, the Estee Lauder today used to be called the Fragrance Products Corporation, which was founded to do business with Youth Do. So I owe a great deal to IFF. And to Andreas, thank you for your predecessors. None of you were born in 1973 when there was a raw material crisis. And it's like we sit anxiously waiting for the envelopes to be opened at the Oscar ceremony. We sat anxiously waiting from the next phone call from IFF saying, well, you know, this is what happened with sandalwood. This is what happened. Nicholas, that's why we had the conversation. Okay? I never rest. I'm sorry, guys. Look, are we having a good time? Yes. Okay. So let's go. Now, okay. Now, one other thing, please. Some of you have red wine in your glasses. Some white wine. Some nothing. Okay. I am the chairman of something called the Alzheimer's Drug Discovery Foundation, which IFF has supported every year since we founded it. And there's a lot of research done, and that Pinot Noir, red wine, helps you with Alzheimer's. Now, wait. By the time the evening is over, we're going to exhaust the supply of Pinot Noir there, okay? I'm here because I love this man. I love Nicholas. He is the real thing. He's creative. He's funny. He's everything. I love his family. I love his wife. I love his kids. I don't know too well, but I hope I didn't break your hand when I shook your hand. And but all of us here. For those of you who have worked in Estee Lauder, there are a few of you here. The one sound you usually hear coming from the office is laughter. Okay? We're living in tough times right now, tense times. Let's learn to laugh a little bit more, because laughter is healthy for you. It's healthier for you than Pinot Noir. Okay? And so my job here tonight is to make this an enjoyable evening for you, and to also honor Nicholas, the people who he works for. And the fragrances not mentioned were Black Violet and Amber Extreme. So, Andreas, yes, we owe you and Nicholas and your creative team a great thanks, okay? And for those of you who are in fragrance creation, you're doing great things. And looking around, those of you who are alumni, where else? Okay. No one else? Okay, I got to try hard with you guys. All right, so now, let's talk a little bit about Nicholas. Everything that you heard is true. He is creative. He's an original. He's a man that represents what all of us want, which is the ability to understand this business, to live it, and to be able to talk about it and love it and have his family love it. Nicholas, you were kind enough to introduce me to your parents several years ago. We all join you in your sorrow. Your whole family's here. By the way, those of you are the two sons. Please raise your hand. Okay. Now, Alexandra. Okay. And Nicholas' sister. Okay. Listen, everybody. Okay. He is great. He has lived this life. He's traveled not just for his own pleasure, but for the experiences he gathers. And with those experiences, he's able to do fantastic things for all of us here in the room. Or maybe some of you are competitors, for the people who aren't here. Okay. Look, I showed up, didn't I? Okay, so the major thing is this. If you continue to support fragrance, remember that. It's the most important thing in a human being's life and even in the animal kingdom. Okay? Don't let people lament what's happened to this, what's happened to that. Hand-wringing is not a marketing strategy. Okay, what do? You create. You create and you create, and you make sure that everything works and that you're creating for the right market. Don't think that the United States is one market. How many is it? 8, 10, 12 markets. Though your customers are all over. And you have to understand, you can't say, well, this is for the American market, this is for the French market. No, you can't. The United States is the most multicultural, multi-ethnic nation in the world, except for Canada, which is even more. So create for your customer, not for what your boss wants you to create for. Okay. You know what I'm talking about. Okay. Now, also, if I can, another word about your mother. She worked in fashion. I think she worked for Pucci, wasn't it? Something. And if you work in fashion, and if you have that passion for things that are beautiful, you can do great things. So all I'm asking you to try to do here is inspire you to create greater things, because the greater are your successes, the greater will the total business be. And one of the challenges that we had, that when we arrived, there was no such thing as an American fragrance business except for Lantherique and the California Perfume Company, which changed its name to Avon. It's true. So, the business in the United States today was a post-World War creation. And let's not wait another 50 years to reignite the American fragrance business, because the world is waiting for you, and it will embrace you and applaud you and make you all rich if you give them what they want and understand it. So one last little word. You got more than you paid for tonight. Is this. I have a hard time every morning. I won't read the newspaper, but I turn on MSNBC when I'm on the treadmill. So I turn that off, and then I read the New York Times. I throw that away. Then I pick up the Washington Post. But let me tell you something. Those of you who are living here in the United States, most of you are American, many of you are some other nations. This is a great country. It's fabulous, it's fantastic. It deserves to live, and it deserves to be celebrated. Don't let those people in Washington tell you otherwise. You are great, and in your hands, this will become an even greater nation, and we want to have you win all over the world. And I'm here to celebrate my guy Nicholas and all of you for what you've done for us. Thank you all. Oh, wait. No. No. Let me have your hand. So, wait. Nicholas, the Circle of Champions Award. However, you are the head circle. Thank you, and Nicholas, congratulations to you. Thank you. Listen, Tom Ford, please. You can't get the button open, that makes it better.
Yes, for letting what you know, we get 50% off.
Not you, me.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Before I begin, I would like to dedicate this award to my mother, Evelyn, who left us a few weeks ago. All her life, she was a fragrance lover and a scent seeker, as we said in our business, with a strong affinity for American perfumes, such as Used You and Private Collection. So this award goes to her. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Linda. Thank you to the Fragrance Foundation for this award. It's a great honor. Thank you also for your invaluable work to promote and unify our industry. I want to thank the presenters here tonight for being with me, with us. Anne, Andreas, John, Carlos, your kind words touched me deeply, and I will treasure them long after this evening is over. And I'm also very happy to share again with Carlos that in a few days we will be celebrating his 50th years with IFF. So congratulations, Carlos, for an outstanding career with us. And I must give a special thanks to Leonard Lauder
whose wide and lasting influence on the fragrance and beauty industry, in the arts and medicine, is beyond measure. I cannot tell you how much it means to me that you're here tonight handing me this award. I was there 17 years ago when you were the first inaugural recipient of this award. And at that moment, I would have never believed that I would be standing on the same stage with you, and I cannot still believe it. You have done enough to earn several Circle of Champions awards, but luckily for the rest of us, the rule says that you only can receive it once. I have always admired you, professionally and personally, and have aspired to mirror your brilliant vision, your acute business sense, and perhaps most importantly to me, your generosity and humanity. In many businesses, we work in the shadows of our heroes, but in the beauty and fragrance industry, we walk among them every single day. One of my life's greatest joy for the last 30 years is to have worked with so many icons, so many rising talents, so many great creative talents, a number of whom are here tonight with us. You are my mentors, my colleagues, my customers, my competitors, but most importantly, you are my friends. And I have been very, very fortunate. I have had plenty of people in all my life who helped me to go to the next step, and you know who you are. First of all, I would like to thank our customers. I'm filled with gratitude to have been able to collaborate with so many great brands and outstanding individuals who have been with me every single step of the way. Thank you so much for your constant trust, guidance, and inspiration throughout my career. I have been always profoundly attracted to the purity of our business model. We are successful when you, our partners, or customers are successful. As a young man, I wanted a career that would combine art, business, and science, but I never dreamed that I would find it. I did it at IFF. On my very first day, I was a sales support in Paris, but Pierre Warny, the creator of Dracar Noir, the #1 men's cologne in the world at the time, was kind enough to take me under his wing and to transmit his knowledge and passion for perfume creation. This is like signing up to be the ball boy at Wimbledon, and on your very first day on the court, you would have Roger Federer telling you, "Please come over. Excuse me, can you help me with my serve?" At AFF, we search for talent that look at the world through a different lens. And we support them so they can reach their full potential. Recently, we surveyed our 8,000 employees around the world, and we asked them to name the defining characteristic of IFF. The #1 response was passion, followed very closely by creativity and entrepreneurial spirit. This is a magical combination. You only usually see that level of dedication in vocational fields such as firefighting and nursing, and it is exceedingly rare in the corporate world today. That is what makes IFF so special to me. I am part of IFF, and IFF is part of me. It not only became my vocation, but it helped me to define my values. All of this tonight would not be possible without this incredible company. Thank you again to Andreas, to the entire IFF team present here tonight, and all our perfumers, creative team, and our employees at all levels throughout the world. But I also want to thank my wonderful family, my wife, Alexandra, who's not only compassionate, creative, and beautiful, but is also the best nose that I know. So now you all know the secret of my success. And my two sons, Tigran and Darius, whose energy, humor, and affection are my constant inspiration. They are the ones who lift my spirits and help me become a better human being. I love you, and I thank you with all my heart. I would like also to thank my dear brother and my mother-in-law who flew from Paris to be with us tonight. When I came to America 25 years ago, and I agree with you, Leonard, America is a great country, I heard many people say that the fragrance business was not brain surgery. I was heartbroken, as both my father and grandfather are brain surgeons. They were dealing with science and medicine to save lives. I thought that I had taken a step backward in my career aspirations. But now, with some perspective, I know that I didn't stray so far. After all, we are also dealing with the minds, the limbic system, just in a more ethereal, invisible way, but still very impactful and lasting. And as Leonard said, we all know that scent can affect emotions, mood, and overall psychological well-being. We are making great discovery and progress, but we're still just scratching the surface of what can be accomplished through scents and perfume. So in these moments of increased global anxiety and natural disasters, I invite all of us not to lose sight of the formidable power of this amazing field in which we all work. Walt Disney said of storytellers, "We restore order with imagination. We instill hope again and again and again." As we are all here tonight, olfactive storytellers, so too we can instill hope in all the people we reach with our fragrances. As I reflect on the past 30 years, I'm very excited about the next 30. And for me, the best is yet to come. Thank you very much for being here tonight.
Please welcome back Linda Levy.
Wow. Congratulations, Nicholas. Not in the script, but I do have to say, when I was lucky enough to get this job, which I so love because of everything you say, Leonard Lauder, I met Nicholas, and I think it's about 2 months ago, and we talked about this night. So I'm looking at Anne and Carlos and Andreas and everyone. And we said, it's going to be a good night, and we're going to have a lot of fun, and I promised to sell out. But I told you, but I didn't know, it is a love fest. So we really have to stop one more time, because what has happened tonight has brought the community together with the love of fragrance, and it's all based on you, Nicholas. So thank you for being a champion tonight. I'm very loyal to my husband, but I'm very in love with you, Nicholas. Don't worry, I'm very professional. We really are very, very happy to be together tonight. And as someone else in the audience taught me to be succinct, Muriel, and to always be on time, Jerry, we still have a little time here, so I really want you to enjoy your Pinot Noir, Mr. Lauder. Gentlemen with the wine, women with the wine, bring it out. We have a fabulous dessert for you. I have a few commercial messages. It's great to see you all. We have another fabulous event coming that I want you to save the date. We'll be sending it out to you for our finalist luncheon when we pre-celebrate many great things. That will be April 6th. And of course, the biggest event of the year, which is June 12 for the Fragrance Foundation Awards. So no one is allowed to leave the room until they have their coffee, drink their Pinot Noir, and have their dessert. I also want to say that starting tonight and for the rest of your lives with the Fragrance Foundation, you will see fragrance at every event, you will smell fragrance at every event, and you will celebrate the joy of fragrance at every event. We have a lot of thanks because we have a goodie bag filled with IFF specific fragrances for everyone to go home and enjoy. And tonight there's something also very special in our theme with our pink roses. Tonight's gift also contains some of the spectacular Rose Essential, which I'm wearing. It's my personal favorite, which Nicholas especially selected for you tonight. It's exclusive, only at the Fragrance Foundation, Muriel. Selected for you tonight because of Nicholas's love of the naturals and beauty and the ingredient in its purest form. We are about fragrance. This is not just a night to talk about a person, it's a night to talk about fragrance. So lock the doors, everyone's having dessert, everyone. It's only 8:35, we have another 25 minutes at least, Alex, hang in there. And I want to thank everyone for participating. Again, we have a sellout night because of all of you, because of all my favorite perfumers in the room. And thank you for coming because it's just one more great night for the Fragrance Foundation. Thank you very much.